Hey guys, let's take a look at radicals again, and we're going to talk about rational exponents. And what we're doing here is we're writing radicals as exponents, and then we get to use the exponent rules to be able to simplify what we're doing. So this is our basic formula. We have the root index and the power that a radical is 2, or the radicand is 2. And that can be rewritten simply as a rational expression. A rational expression is a fraction. So the nth root of a to the nth power equals a to the m divided by n power. An example, the square root of a, there's an understood 2 indicating the square root. So there's an understood 2 there. So that is simply 2 radical a to the first, which I can rewrite as a to the 1/2 power. Cube root is a. My root index is the denominator of that fraction, so I know that's going to be 3. My power, 1. The fourth root of a, well, my root index is going to be the denominator of that rational exponent. The power that my radicand is 2, 1. Here I have the square root of a cubed. Well, my root index n, that's my denominator of that rational exponent, so that's going to be 2. And then my power of the radicand is cubed. It's going to be my numerator. So 3/2 for that one. I have the cube root of a squared. My root index is the denominator. The power of my radicand is the numerator, a to the 2/3. And this right here, we've already simplified a problem like this. The square root of something squared is simply that something. So the square root of a squared is a. Well, if I actually write this out, okay, so root index is my denominator, my rational exponent, so that's 2. The power of the radicand, that's 2. What does that equal? 2 divided by 2? It just shows that that is a good example to make sure that you're setting your problem up correctly for your rational exponent. So let's look at some examples. Okay, you're going to be given the radical symbol, and what you need to do is write as an exponent and then simplify. So here's the first example. I have the square root of 25x squared. Well, I know that 25 can be rewritten as 5 squared. So I will take my radical and I'll write it as an exponent. 5 squared, x squared, all to the 1/2 power. Well, your rules for exponents, the power rule, means that I multiply those powers. So 1/2 times 2 and 1/2 times 2. It leaves me with 5 to the 2/2 and x to the 2/2, which simplifies to 5x. What I would like for you to do is pause the video and work those. Alright, I know that 27 can be rewritten as 3 cubed. Then I will rewrite this to what power? 1/3 power. That means I'm going and using the power rule for my exponents. That means I multiply 1/3 times 3 and 1/3 times 6 and 1/3 times 9. So 3 times 1/3 is 3/3. 6/3 and 9/3. In essence, in my mind, what I see is I'm multiplying by 1/3. That's the same as dividing by 3. I go through each one of these in my mind and I divide each one by 3. That becomes 3 to the first power. This becomes x squared, and this becomes y to the third power. Next one, I have the fourth root. So 2 to the fourth, a to the fourth, b to the eighth, c to the 16th, all to the 1/4 power. Well, if multiplying by 1/4 is the same as dividing by 4. So I'm going to go through each one of these and divide them by 4 and write out my answer. 4 divided by 4 is 1, so that leaves my 2. My power is 1. A to the fourth to the 1/4, well, that's the same as dividing 4 by 4, so it'll be a to the first. B to the eighth to the 1/4, well, that's saying 8 divided by 4, which is 2, so that is b squared. And c to the 16th, well, that is 16 divided by 4, which is c to the 4th. And in case you did not see that, what this turns into, I take that 1/4 and I times it to the 4th power. So that is 2 to the 4 over 4. And a 1/4 times 4 is 4 over 4. And b 1/4 times 8 is 8 over 4. And c 1/4 times 16 is 16 over 4. And that was 2 to the first times a to the first times b squared times c to the 4th. And again, in case you aren't aware of this, there's nothing wrong with that, is that, and I'll pick an easy one. Okay, I know that 8 divided by 2 equals 4. I can rewrite this problem as this: 8 divided by 2. That equals 4. Or I could rewrite this problem and say 8 times 1/2. Well, let's just make them both a fraction. 8 over 1. What does that equal? 8/2. Multiplying by 1/2 is the same as dividing by 2. And this right here is an introductory on writing radicals as exponents. I prefer this method because it takes me right back to my exponent rules. So guys, I encourage you to critically think and structure your homework, and good luck with these homework problems in simplifying radical expressions.